Hey everybody, welcome back to Trek Tuesdays here on Section Nerdy One, the Star Trek arm of the Nerd Network. It's me and John today, back for our Trek Tuesday
We're
watch
here?
along.
Oh my
Yeah, it's an away mission, and we haven't died yet or been turned into a salamander, so I think it's a win.
Oh Lord.
John, tell us about the two episodes today: Arsenal of Freedom and Symbiosis. No spoilers, just a little overview.
It, I think we're going to enjoy these episodes. Arsenal Freedom is a very interesting episode about ancient civilizations and modern warfare, and not the game, but actual warfare. Um, but also has some pretty interesting kind of background and lore to a couple of our characters. And uh, we're doing Arsenal Freedom. I'm sorry, what was the second?
Symbiosis.
I knew this
Yes.
because we talked about this several weeks ago. Merritt Buttrick, who played David Marcus in Star Trek 2 and 3, is one of the guest stars, and this was one of the last roles before he passed away.
Oh,
Way too young, unfortunately, from AIDS. And uh, this was an interesting episode about drug addiction and some social commentary. It's not a strong episode for me, as far as what the episode brings. More for the guest cast that's in it this week. In addition to having Merritt Buttrick in the episode, a gentleman who did not receive credit in Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan, playing Joachim, who is Khan's kind of right hand man. He gets a turn in this episode. The actor's name, I'm bringing it up since he literally doesn't have credit in Star Trek II, but his name is Judson Scott.
that name
And
sounds familiar.
he has done a few things. Taking a look at his IMDb, known mostly for TV shows in the 90s. He was in a fantastic sci-fi series in the 80s. He actually did make an appearance in Voyager. He was in the X-Files. He was in the original Blade movie. Quite a few other things, but he hasn't done much since about 2002.
Well, he's got to be on the older side now, too, right?
Well, yes, he was born in 1952.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But yeah, this is a fun episode for that reason, because there are two people that were very big in one of the Star Trek movies that show up in this episode in completely different, roles, but just interesting to see them again.
Gotcha. Awesome. Well, I'm excited to get started. If you're out there watching, for any comments, questions, or what you're liking about these episodes, into the comments. John is a nerd of all things, and
I don't know what you're talking
about. So we'll try to answer your questions. But we're going to get rolling on the watch along now. I can figure out how the heck I did that. Okay, there we go. As always, the title, episode title, and the timestamp will be there on the screen. Go ahead and cue your Paramount Plus up to 0 seconds on episode 21, season 1, Arsenal of Freedom. We'll go in a couple of seconds. I will make sure intermittently throughout the episode it shows up in those little holes there. So if you do get off or your internet stutters or whatever, because that happens.
I was going to say, ladies and gentlemen, he is specifically talking about me here, as I tend to have that happen.
No, I live on a mountain, so it's pretty regular up here. Of course,
you live on the Paramount Mountain.
If you know what, I didn't think about that. We'll say yes. Voters were in a lot more problematic territory. All right, we're gonna get rolling with Arsenal of Subtitles. And I did pause it because subtitles apparently automatically pauses.
Oh wow.
I turned subtitles on. It's a really pretty planet.
I always remember the name Minos just because it sounded so interesting hearing Picard say it.
It's isn't there a
For all
king, like
sides.
an ancient Greek king?
I believe there is, yeah.
And he not Midas, that was the touch the gold guy. Hmm.
How many people that become Starfleet officers are not able and active?
Well, it kept you alive at least.
Kissing up to the captain. There you go. Jordy knows what's going on. Always. Not always.
Right? Well, that's horrifying.
Mm.
That guy's familiar. Is
Oh,
that
very.
Judson whatever?
So, um,
He's a used car salesman. America. Wow.
it's wormed.
Wow. Well, at least one officer is speaking sensibly about this. I will never get over how much I love this opening.
I was about to say, I was hoping I would hear you say it again. You've
Well, we
said
only
it
got a few more
almost each
episodes, right?
time.
Don't they change this on season 2?
They don't make any changes in season 2.
Also, I love Voyager's music. I love the musical number that opens Enterprise.
Yeah.
I think they're all great. But this is Star Wars or Star Trek music to me.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, yes, Toss was there, but
So the man who came on the screen there, um, Vincent Schiavelli, he was in everything from Fast Times at Ridgemont High and The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai, Across the Eighth Dimension, which you and I have reviewed. Tomorrow Never Dies, the James Bond movie, Ghost, um, uh, just an amazing 165 credits as an actor.
jeez.
He unfortunately passed away back in 2005. Um, he was in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Um, Independence Day. The X Files, Escape to Witch
Look at all them
Mountain.
ficuses. Some very obvious ficuses. Look at the face just pointed right at Tasha Yar's ass.
So this episode has an interesting and unique footnote. A shot of Riker talking over the intercom uh, to the ship was clipped and used in the final episode. These are uh,
All good things.
all good things. In one of the flashbacks, which was before the Enterprise got to Farpoint, and so at one point Picard has to message to Riker, and so they lifted a bit of him from this since he didn't have a beard to
Huh.
to kind of make it sync properly. Yes, it's a hunk of metal under some moss. Never seen anything like this.
Huh. Huh.
Boy, I'm a little sarcastic tonight.
Just a bit.
Uh-oh. Oh, even better. See, I love that. That's what an ops person should be doing. Constant contact with whoever's on the away team, giving him verbal information. They kind of got away from that, but
Riker maneuver. I mean, I feel like I saw this episode a long, long time ago, and he's not real, right?
I don't know what you're talking about. Kind of a you better come here kind of situation, which you should never really do. They always do that on Star Trek. When the commanding officer says, "Hey, what is it?" I think you should come here and look. No,
Right.
tell him. So why did Picard come on and tell him that the ops person needed to talk to him?
Right. Data's like, what is happening?
It's a good ship lollipop.
Uh, uh, huh. Wow.
Come on, even our AI is better now.
Right.
Whoa.
Huh.
Something.
Sorta.
They were going to commercial. You knew they had to do something dramatic.
Mm-hmm.
Unknown. Hmm.
Mm.
They're finally starting to do the transporter controls correctly with the sliders being used much
Right.
like they were back in the original show. Yes. Little choice.
We have a little choice.
If only
Give
they
me a
had
minute.
encountered the
Giant
Borg before
torpedo is
now,
gonna
they
fire.
would have had
Do
the
what?
rotating phasers. He's
I
so
mean,
calm about it.
did it? Oh,
By the way, those probes were constructed. Well, for those who are old enough to remember, Legs Pantyhose, uh, the brand L apostrophe EEG, used to come in a plastic egg, big plastic egg. That probe was made from Legs Pantyhose canisters.
that's cool.
Hmm.
However, comma, did you see the goofy ass way they just fell in that hole?
Yes.
That's a stunt right there.
It is. Yeah. So
It can
different.
dodge.
And maybe quickly. Retro. So that probe was made out of a legs pantyhose container and a discarded shampoo bottle by visual effects supervisor Dan Curry. It's called the
Nice.
Echo Papa 607. Also, the sand in the cavern was infested with fleas.
Oh,
Patrick
geez.
Stewart and Gates McFadden were under constant attack and were utterly miserable during this.
Damn.
I've always thought that was a very odd looped in ADR, effect. I guess it wasn't ADR. It would be just a sound effect. Um, Foley. That's what it is, Foley artist. I'm still trying to shoot Commander Riker. Why would you need to step back? Oh,
I thought she pointed the gun at him. I was like, why? Why? What is it? Is that a problem? Well, except that you don't know where the captain is now.
and Riker's like, wait, why is the captain here? It's a really large container of legs pantyhose. Like really large. Hey,
So swing the ship
exposition
around, point the
reminding
nose at
everybody
the
how a
king,
starship works.
and lower the real ship shields.
This is pretty cool seeing LaForge being command for the first time.
Right.
Best of all, he knows which way to lean when they get hit.
Right.
Why do
What?
you need to know? You're just the chief engineer. Yeah. Yeah, this is a whole manufactured drama here. I like this actor.
Uh.
Apparently, it can also fire when cloaked.
Dude, I thought that was Wesley, and I was like, wow, Wesley grew up. I was really confused for about 2 seconds. Also, he needs to kick this guy off the bridge, like right now.
Hmm.
If it was my bridge, I'd be like, can y'all transport him back to the. They didn't. This guy seems like a douche.
Yeah. But it's too bad because, again, I like the actor. I've seen him in other things. But again, it's this whole manufactured thing. Why would he have done any of that? I mean, I know they needed to give LaForge a reason to
Struggle.
actually take command as opposed to just be in charge. But
Right. Why did they crawl over the giant tree instead of around it? What the hell? Data! What was
yeah, well,
that?
you know,
Look out! I'm just gonna huck you over the cliff. Data, we gotta talk
don't you
about
remember?
Zuko's bad touch.
He knows what she can take. That was really bad. I shouldn't have said that.
You know, you're not wrong. Man, that. Look out! I'm glad the foliage stopped it.
I will. I remember really enjoying this at the time. If for nothing else, is we were finally seeing some of the technology. They
Right?
really hadn't shown phasers that much until now, and they've done several really good close-ups and shown the beams doing things.
Right.
Let's find the captain so I can admonish him for coming down to the planet when he shouldn't have.
Look, it's nap time in the flea bed.
Hey, sorry, didn't mean to start reciting the episode. I mean, this isn't Star Trek 2 or 3.
Hey, there's a bunch of you just joined on the TNN channel. If you're out there watching, we're doing a watch along of Star Trek: The Next Generation. About halfway through episode 21 of season 1 on Paramount Plus. If you want to cue it up, we
It's
are
going to be just fine.
watching the beginnings of Jack Crusher right here, y'all. We're all going to be fine. We're all good here. How are you?
Yeah. By the way, we just missed the fact that the chief medical officer just let him know that there was uh, another wound that he was not aware of.
Gotcha.
That was great. He's like, I've stopped the bleeding. And she's like, no, there's another wound. When were you going to clue him in? This is kind of cool. It's hokey, but
I don't think the shaking and such. But hey, Joanne. I don't think he's spreading as much as he's just smacking her.
Well, he's not going to sit there and scrub it a tree branch against her
Oh,
wound.
he's grinding on a rock.
Yes.
I thought he was doing that to the wound. Like, that seems.
If her wound is over there, we got problems.
Maybe she's got long legs. You don't know. Well, what you up to tonight, Joanne?
Sorry, Joanne, that you don't like this episode, as I've just been talking it up.
Uh,
Well, I've got my uniform. I could just take that off. Okay. Again, he probably wouldn't do that.
mhm.
This is a decent Crusher episode in that we start learning more about who she is and her family and why she knew that thing was going to help her. Says the blind man.
Wow.
I think I agree with my wife. She said, subbing in a middle school will do the sarcasm thing.
Whoa, smash.
Joanne, it's not a great episode. I like that there's some small things. We get to see the phasers up close and some of the technology. Great example of the phaser on the ship and how it has an arc instead of just one emitter. Well, he's going to do something. He's going to take over engineering.
Ah,
I'm blind and I'm driving the ship. That's telling him something. Oh, I do like this. Sorry. Mr. Logan is sounding so confident now and ha ha ha, I told you so. But watch what he does. This is great. Okay, look here. You can't have done all of that to tell LaForge he needs to leave and then get upset with him for getting ready to leave.
exactly.
You're leaving them here. Yes, sir. That's exactly what you told me to do.
Those people are dumb.
Hey, isn't that Q following? Oh, wait, no. Sorry. Wrong episode. He is now arguing the exact opposite point.
Yep.
Wait, what? Okay, that's a low blow.
Right?
Wow. This is officially, I think, one of my sarcastiest episodes. And horrible grammar, too. Most sarcastic. Not sarcastiest.
Sarcastius. Shut up.
I have a feeling I'm going to have a title coming soon. I'm going to miss you most. Fish.
Okay. Thank you, Joanne.
Thank you, Joanne. Gosh, I somehow feel that's going to be a label on me from now on.
The sarcastiest.
Hey, look at that, ladies and gentlemen. We had the time code and the episode come up on the screen. Fantastic, Jake. That wasn't me being sarcastic. I was being real about that. Mr. Solus is just in charge of piloting this ship. He has
Right?
nothing to do with getting them. So the director for this episode was Les Landau, who became known as being a Star Trek director. He directed 22 episodes of The Next Generation,
Oh,
went on to
awesome.
direct 14 of DS9, 9 of Voyager, and even 1 of Enterprise, among a lot of other shows. Dark Angel, Charmed, um, Beverly Hills 90210, Jag, Weird Science.
Sean,
Yes.
Joanne, we need a
Thank you,
rubric.
Joanne. Fair. And also, I would be remiss if I didn't explain that this was the Star Trek movie uh, set. Unfortunately, it will be the last time you will see the Star Trek motion picture through Star Trek 4 bridge set. Shortly after this episode, the set was left outside and was damaged by rain so much they couldn't reuse it.
Oh, that's dumb. How do you leave a whole set outside?
Well, that set went into about 8 different parts originally, like pie pieces that they could pull out
Oh,
so that
gotcha.
they could film. Each station was a section that could be pulled out. And they did redress it a little bit for this one from Encounter at Farpoint. Some of the control panels looked a little different, but
Wow. Leave me to die, gentlemen.
ooh. I mean, she's a doctor. And had a strange interest in candles.
We haven't gotten to that episode yet, so that'll be the first time I ever watch it.
See, right? That whole first season, they were really pushing for the two of them to have a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
It's a view screen.
It's a view screen. Well, your medical officer is almost non-operative, so.
Hey, we have lights. Possibly.
It's that guy again.
He was such a great actor.
He was. I remember his face, but I don't know a lot from what he's in.
I listed off a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, I don't know a lot of those things.
Oh. I remember back during Picard, we made comments about how things had been so sterile and perfect in next gen with society, and we were finally starting to see in Picard kind of the underbelly and the people that would still the used car salesman from like the Ferengi on. But this is kind of the first indication that there really was still that kind of underbelly in the universe.
Yeah. Let's see, Canto Bight area of Star Trek.
And they're down to 3 phasers and no more.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see the hologram? He started to frown.
Mm-hmm.
They dropped a long way.
There, no way she's below that hole. So am I. He fell on his head. He's an android, you idiot.
I've got the headphones on and I'm hearing the birds and stuff. And I started looking around thinking that I was hearing something here on my desk. Whew. I love that he just kind of wham.
Hello.
Well, hello there. Because at first we took 1 phaser, then 2, then 3. We're sure out of phasers.
It's like, the card, toss us your phaser.
Yeah. It's 11.75 meters. I don't know that he can throw it up there.
I mean, he can certainly try. Data could,
True.
and he could calculate it, so he'd
You
be
see,
like
an
right in
encounter
your
at
hand.
Farpoint, those screens, the 4 individual screens that are down at waist level to Worf in the back, were just flat lights. And now they've actually got displays on them.
What are the point of those screens?
Hmm?
That kind of like the way he smiled at him was kind of creepy. Like, how you doing, Jordy?
George's doing a nice little inspirational speech, considering he's one of the lowest ranked people on that bridge at the moment.
Yeah.
Why didn't you ask?
Good grief.
I love the name too. Echo Papa 607.
Oh, he died on the day after Christmas.
Out of range. Woohoo!
I just want to say, for a planet that sells nothing but arms and armor, they can't hit worth a damn.
Sure enough. See, this whole time, she's the one. Whoop.
Good lord.
Hold, please.
Thank you for calling the Enterprise.
There are 72 emergencies before you.
Habla
Sorry, I've been
español
watching Only
número
Murders in
dos.
the Building, and they've
Block
had a.
Prima número 3. Please hold while the subscriber you're trying to reach is contacted.
If you've watched Only Murders in the Building, they've had a funny ongoing joke during the last season. They call 911, and there's like 70 emergencies ahead of them, and they're on hold.
If you're currently experiencing an interruption of service, it can be due to either A, Q, 3, the Borg, or 14, an interplanetary weapon. Please do not attempt to call back.
Wait, Helm's going unresponsive, but he can compensate?
I don't know.
It's okay. The rest of it's pretty good.
What
Aha. Hey,
are
look
we
at
doing
that.
here? Oh.
And we got him. I forgot that Worf said that. Well, maybe go to a higher elevation so that you get out of the.
Yeah, I want to scour the hull clean.
Geordi saves the day only to let's
Incinerate everyone on board.
exactly
Oh
33,000 or 3,300 degrees.
my god.
She had just called that out, so
Wouldn't that melt the hull?
getting close, sir.
Kind of a dick.
It's pretty cool
That
though.
took a minute. He
Leaving
was
him in
like,
command.
crumple, crumple.
Uh-oh. They're putting Picard in charge of the weapons. That's not good.
I don't know. Crusher did pretty good in Picard 3.
True. Okay, so LeVar Burton and Gates McFadden both had great turns in this episode. You really got some development for both of them.
Oh, dang it.
Again, not a great episode, but there was a lot of little stuff that made it interesting.
Agreed. It was kind of fun.
Mhm.
All right. I'm going to take a minute and use the restroom. So why are you? There we go.
Why am I what?
No, no, no. The symbol was the wrong
I
thing.
get it. I get it.
All right. I will be right back, sir.
And I will too.
Hey.
Okay, first off, haha and F you,
Huh?
because you beat me to relabeling me. I was just going in to label myself as the sarcastiest. I was like, wait a minute, it's already done.
All right. Let's go over to here.
I
Now
am
we're going to
I'm
start.
so surprised. Judy
Do
made a
what?
post on Facebook about my first day with a picture from this morning. Within 7 minutes, she had 30 some people that had liked it. As of right
Oh,
now, and it's only been 2 hours, 146 people have liked it,
damn.
and a whole bunch of people have commented. It's going to end up being one of her biggest posts of the year.
That's
And a lot
awesome.
of people that are friends of mine that I haven't talked to in years that uh, have reached out on it. So that's kind of cool. So it just so everybody knows, after 16 and a half years with one employer and 25, 26.
Just maybe don't share the name.
Oh, no. Um, for the last month, I have been, shall we say, less than employed, and
The
I
other word for that would be
unemployed.
unemployed.
But
I'm less than able to run a marathon.
yeah, well, this is true.
Huh?
But I took my first step and became a substitute teacher for the first time today, coming from a family of a lot of teachers. And it's something that I've given serious thought about for nearly 30 years. And I did it, and I loved it. It was a great day. So,
I also have educational news.
oh,
As of Monday yesterday, I officially hold an associate's degree.
congratulations, sir. I know
Thank you,
you've been
sir.
working really hard on that, and I knew it was coming up. I am so glad that it happened.
It's
Fantastic.
you can't see it, but it's in a little frame right about there.
That's great.
All right, you ready to start this episode?
I am.
All right, let's hit it.
Oh, thank you, Joanne. That's so nice of you. And now we get to talk about. Sorry, I'm letting Picard have his moments.
Joanne. Where's the yellow lights? Oh, Sam.
Which, that's funny because during the original series, there wasn't really any indication of yellow alert. The only indication was when they went to red alert. That was one of the things that I thought they fixed.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry. What the hell was that? That's like me working with Photoshop. What the hell? Oh man. And here I was thinking that was a dude crawling out of that. Hmm.
Wow.
I don't think you could miss that.
No joke. No joke.
Hmm.
Can't go closer. Mr. LaForge, go in closer. Hopefully, we'll still be here for everybody to see.
Yeah. The Twink console.
Very nice, Joanne. Well, then, that's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't remember. Do you like the opening credits to this show?
A little bit, just a smidge. Yes. Like the music behind this portion, I don't like. I mean, it's not that I don't like it. Let me rephrase it. I like the Voyager music better than this portion. But when you get into the da 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 whatever, it's just the best Star Trek music. Period. It's just that damn good. Hey Joanne, I just saw where Stan went live earlier with Star Trek Armada. I'm like, ah. Well, hope he's still on after we're done because I'm gonna go watch some. I really like that game. I kind of want to go play it again. I have it on. I think it's on Good Old Games. I might load up and try doing the campaign again.
This episode was a social commentary on drug addiction and the drug problems of the 80s.
That makes sense. Yeah, just a Humus 410. I'd love to, but I want to be like, yo. And also, I don't know if you can anymore because it's such an old game. I don't know if you can do it over the internet. So there's a lot of issues. I don't know. The last time we tried to do something over the internet was Command and Conquer, which is from the same time frame. And we did a live stream because we were going to do like a retro game night. And we spent like 2 hours trying to get it to work and couldn't get it to work. You know, we have a history of that. Me and John tried to get Star Trek New Horizons to work.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Although We should try that again because I got a beast of a machine now that could probably make that work. What's with this guy? Good analysis, bud. Great analysis. If you want it, Captain.
It's good of her to remind us that we have one.
That is correct.
Okay. Thanks, Yar.
Good of you to remind and then immediately.
Remind us of something that was going to not work.
Exactly. This guy does not seem like he knows what he's doing.
He does not. Do you know how to install it?
This is like an RPG around a table. Wow. Unless you figure out what you're doing in the next 5 seconds.
Or she could have just told them.
Right. Cause of death. Incompetence. America. It's fine.
That's
They can be
okay.
absolutely fine. We heard that last episode.
I was going to say, LaForge says it's totally okay to turn off the shields. Stereotypical druggies. They sent their drugs over before them.
They got their meth.
Oh, nice updated graphic for the special edition.
Yeah. Hmm.
And that is the gentleman that played Joachim. And there's
The gentleman who played Wu.
Joachim,
Who's
Khan's
that?
number one. He's the guy on the left. These two, that of course is Merrick Buttrick.
Hmm.
So, okay, that's right. We need to go back and watch Star Trek 2. This is the guy that was Khan's number one. He was the only one that voiced any opposition to Khan during the movie. He
Mm-hmm. Um.
he wanted higher billing, and his manager inadvertently agreed to not having any billing at all. Um, so he doesn't appear credited in the movie at all, even though he was a major part of it.
I'm only a few episodes into Babylon 5, Joanne, so I'm not sure which
Oh,
character
that's
he
true. He was
is.
in Babylon 5, yes.
But I am really enjoying Babylon 5.
I never got into it as much back in the day because it felt like it was trying to compete with DS9. And at that point, I was a Star Trek fanboy only, and just I've gotten into it more since. But very true.
And a difficult what?
Weapon to confiscate.
Chop his hands off. Done. Have we seen Data this whole episode?
Yes, he was on the bridge trying to connect up to the computer of the other ship.
Hmm.
They tended to do a lot of those walk and talks early in this, and you didn't see that later on as much.
Yeah. There he is.
Yep.
Yeah, I hear after season one it really picks up in quality. Um, and even especially from you guys, from your review of it, heard the same thing. Just not. I don't know. Just haven't gotten into it.
They got just a little bit more money. Honestly, a lot like Next Generation did. And Jake, not to assume anything here, but the man on the screen right there, that's Merritt Buttrick. He's the one who played David. David, Kirk's son.
Hmm.
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 Hmm. Nobody thought to say anything about that till now.
He's gonna be pissed.
So earlier they showed the Enterprise near the star, and the force field, the shields were fluctuating.
Right.
That effect was originally created by using a bowling ball that was trickled with salt, and the salt bumping off the bowling ball was used um, and digitally composited.
That's
So,
cool.
yeah, I believe it was actually updated for this for the remastered version. But
Hmm.
so you know a little something about this because on Lower Decks, an episode called Trusted Sources, the Cerritos, as part of Project Swing By, uh, visited the planets.
Yeah. So did they see these guys later on?
Not these exact same people. The people that they meet were grateful for Picard for freeing them from the exploitation that you're about to find out about.
Right.
Um, and I'll explain the rest so that I'm not giving away too much yet. During this episode, LeVar Burton hosted an episode of Reading Rainbow in which he did a behind the scenes of Star Trek Next Generation. And they get to see some of the effects made for this episode and got to talk to some people during the making of this episode.
Nice.
He seems so upset about that.
So Joanne, I'm
Unfortunately,
currently downloading Armada 2. Don't
unfortunately,
own the first one though.
uh, the director of this episode remembered later in an
The
interview that there were many
carburetor.
continuity problems. This was at a point where Gene Roddenberry and his lawyer were really interfering with day-to-day operations, and so there was a lot of issues during this episode. And this should be an indication of what's going on here. That they've refined it and improved it so much.
Right.
And the little tool that he just used to pick up the seeds is a very common, normal little 3-prong plunger grabber. In fact, I've got one in the other room for reaching down for screws inside of a computer when they fall.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, capitalism at its best.
That is one way to look at it. Fucking capitalism.
It's a really interesting little piece of tech that they kind of cobbled together there.
It looks like a carburetor or an
Hmm.
alternator or a distributor cap, kind of
I
all in
believe it
one.
actually is.
Yeah, the doctor's like, I know what this is. The wheels begin to turn.
Have you figured out what's going on here, Jake?
Oh, I know what's going on. I've seen those looks.
There is no plague. Spoilers, sorry. I forgot how sarcastic she sounds. Okay, so that's what I was alluding to
Yeah.
during
Well, those are seat choices.
during the Lower Decks episode. They were grateful for Picard for freeing them, but the fact that he subjected them to mass arduous withdrawal without any warning, preparation, or assistance permanently cooled relations with the interplanetary organizations. No, they wouldn't.
Hmm.
That panel she's holding that's translucent and has markings on it, those were actually originally from Star Trek 2, well, actually more Star Trek 3. They show up several times here. It's just a little interesting prop that they reused.
Right.
It looks like a circuit board almost.
Yes.
Now, that person on screen there is Kenneth Tygar, who's also a really, really well known character actor. He was in Lethal Weapon 3, The Avengers. is a German old man. Law and Order, The Good Fight.
I think I know who you're talking about.
He was, if you remember Lethal Weapon 3, he was a bomb squad
I do
captain.
not.
Aha. This week on a very special Star Trek The Next Generation.
Kenneth Tygar was the guy who said there are always men like you
Yes.
in the square in Berlin. He's also the guy who played. Um,
He's
oh,
one of those
God.
famous, unfamous character actors. Nobody knows his name, but everybody's seen him in something.
He's also been on this season before already. Or no, not this season. He's on Voyager.
Hmm.
The episode where the alien race slowly replaces the Voyagers by teleporting.
Yes.
He's part of that scheme, but I think my favorite role that he's in, he's Heinrich Himmler in The Man in the High Castle. Man, he looks so much younger here.
Well,
Shut up. I know.
to be fair,
40-ish years ago. Yeah, he's in a ton of things.
hmm which is crazy because it's just a throwaway thing here. He's barely in this.
Right?
But as we've already seen this season, and you'll continue to see, sorry, I completely forgot this was coming.
Well, the Rikers is
Riker goes through the ringer in this season. Seems like he
right.
keeps getting stuff happening to him. And wait until next week.
Oh, God.
100 gallons of printer ink and several gallons of Metamucil mixed
I'm
together.
sorry. What?
Something that happens next week.
Okay.
Jonathan Frakes literally did a lot of stuff he didn't want to do this year.
Poor guy.
There also be mealworms that he actually eats, even though he didn't need to.
I think I remember that moment. That's from Conspiracy.
Uh huh. I remember being at a convention less than 6 months after that episode came out, where he talked about the fact that they got him to eat these things, and then they ended up not needing that footage at all.
Wow.
Hey, the drug pushers have just realized they've been found out, and now they want a deal. See, sometimes my sarcasm is funny. Really?
Yay, bots. Well, I don't know how to get to the chat. That's irritating.
What is that?
That's a bot.
Silly bots.
Yeah. Bot creators are the scum of everything.
By the way, at the end of this episode, there is something that I mistakenly told you was going to happen a few episodes back. And there's going to be something in the background I want you to watch for. Dun dun dun. Oh, that was not a good thing to say.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, unfortunately, Merritt Buttrick, the one on the left there, passed away just about a year after this. He was actually already very sick at this point.
Which one?
The captain there on the left, the one who played David. He
The
was in
one right here.
advanced. Yeah, he was in the advanced stages of HIV, of AIDS.
Well, the one in the overalls looks like Jason Sudeikis.
Yeah, a little bit. Dun dun dun. And the drug pushers now are realizing how screwed they are.
Yep.
Dun dun dun. Another great use of the cargo transporters that have been talked about for since the original series, but had never been seen. So I want you to watch very carefully to Troy in the background here. It was virtually impossible to see, but she just waved at everybody.
Yeah, I saw that. But I thought that was Yar.
Or sorry, Tashiar. Yes. This episode was filmed after the one that we'll be seeing next week, and it was the last time that Denise Crosby was on the show. And so you were seeing her wave to the audience.
Oh,
It was her way of saying goodbye. Spoilers for next week.
I thought she leaves on the Yesterday's Enterprise episode.
No, that's the second time.
I'm sorry, what?
Denise Crosby ends her
Wait,
run on
yeah,
Star
I just
Trek
realized. Right, got it.
next week on Skin of Evil, who was also brought up in Lower Decks when they visited Armus.
You pick.
Before we become addicted. Mm.
Oh, and yeah, I've heard that about a lot of the episodes of season one, and a lot of these episodes
Yeah, really terrible episode. But
were not great. A lot of these episodes, not great.
well, it's notable because it's the first time in the history of Star Trek that a main character leaves the series. But
yeah,
so this was a very message heavy episode. You got to keep in mind this was in '88, and we were still right in the middle of
the war on drugs.
the war on drugs, and you get that whole little ham-fisted Tasha Yar talking to Wesley Crusher about the dangers of addiction and the dangers of drugs, and it was right out of the "Don't do drugs, dare" kind of.
Lieutenant Nancy Reagan, everyone.
Exactly. It was kind of weird how it showed up. I liked what they were trying to do. They were taking the young, innocent Wesley and trying to explain things that he was just getting old enough to understand more. But yeah, a little bit ham-fisted the way they did it. But an interesting episode. Again, more interesting based on the guest stars having two legacy characters or actors that had been in the Star Trek movies just a couple of years before coming back to the show. The one, the male drug pusher, he does appear in Trek again. Again, he was the one who was in Star Trek Two, The Wrath of Khan. And thank you, Joanne. Just say no. Um, you know, he shows up again as a Romulan in a later episode, but he was in a major part in Star Trek Two, and ended up not getting any credit for the movie. He's not listed in the credits for the movie at all, due to a silly spat between his manager and the production team over wanting to have higher billing. But and again, Merritt Buttrick was an amazing actor who did a lot of work, and was again a very important character, Kirk's son, who unfortunately, his character was killed in Star Trek 3, and uh, so he was a very important person. And the fact that they had him back for this when he was as sick as he was at the time was kind of neat that they were willing to do that. So while the episode wasn't the best, and it had kind of a, you know, punch you in the face, just say no to drugs commentary. I like that they tried to do that, and they tried to do that more. In fact, one of the David Gerald, the author or the original writer for The Trouble with Tribbles, among other things, had written a script for an episode that he tried desperately to bring about to um, to this show. He attempted to write. It was an episode. It was actually something that he had originally wanted to try back during the original show. Um, he had an episode that a script he wrote called Blood and Fire, which furthered. It actually included an AIDS
Like Game of
metaphor,
Thrones.
and it was going to have the first gay couple on Star Trek as members of the ship's crew. He wrote the
Okay.
script in response to being with Roddenberry at a convention in 1987, where he promised that an upcoming episode would deal with the sexual orientation in the egalitarian future. And it was purchased by the TNG producers, but eventually they shelved it. He worked it later into a book called the Star Wolf series, Star Wolf series, and then much later, the fan-produced Star Trek New Voyages that I've talked about often. That's the one that's done by James Cowley, and was a big part of at the up in Ticonderoga, New York, the Star Trek experience where you can go walk the sets of the original series. Back when he was doing his fan show, New Voyages, he actually worked with David Gerrold and ended up producing, reworked the Blood and Fire script to it being Kirk's nephew who was on the ship and was
Cool.
gay. And really powerful episode. And they really were trying for some of this more social commentary, taking it to an even further level, which Trek had always been known for.
Right.
And unfortunately, never ended up getting made in Next Generation. It only went to the fan film, but um, they had some very high ideals and some very high hopes. I mean, again, and we've talked about this before. The first season, especially of Next Gen, and into the second season, um, it was supposed to be this utopian future. No more money. Things were supposed to be, very utopian, so to speak, within the Federation. And little by little, that kind of change. The less less animosity between characters. You didn't have people that had differing opinions that often on this show, um, and that was one of the ideals originally, was they were going to do a lot more social commentary. And I really wish they'd had a chance to do it, but this was an example of trying, and unfortunately it got rewritten several times. And as I said earlier, this was when Roddenberry was kind of on his way out at this point. And so there were a lot of little things that caused problems in this episode, but
Yeah.
an interesting episode for what it was. Not a great episode though.
Yeah, and I remember them touching on this in Lower Decks.
Hmm.
I think messages like this, delivered like this, are very uh,
A little
lead
heavy-handed.
balloon, so to speak.
Yeah,
Would you
very
say?
much. Very heavy-handed.
Yes. But I think the way they touched on it in Lower Decks was like, oh, right, that happened.
Yeah.
And it worked. I mean, it worked for me, anyways.
Hmm.
But yeah, I like these. These were not great episodes. I mean, they're not, best of both worlds. But they're not terrible. I mean, they're better
No,
than some of the other ones this season. Good God.
no. The next two are going to be interesting. Skin of Evil is, again, not a good episode, but it does a little pulling of the heartstrings because we lose Tasha.
Yeah.
Um, and then the other episode we've got coming up, we'll always have Paris. Another. It's an interesting concept. I'm not certain that it was handled the best, but a very interesting episode.
Yeah.
We get to see somebody from Picard's past who is now remarried, and they have to go rescue the husband, who has been doing
That sucks. I'd
well.
be like, no,
Yeah,
I'm good. I'm good. You stood me up. So
he encounters
fine.
a woman from his past after her scientist husband's experiments begin to unravel the fabric of time. So interesting episode that will
Jeez,
be coming up.
Picard, go big or go home, I guess.
We've got the very heavy and depressing episode with Skin of Evil. We have, which will again show Riker being enveloped into a vat of Metamucil and black printer's ink, which is just disgusting. But and then we always have Paris. Will have a lot of visual effects that are very interesting for the time period. They did some really interesting visual and special effects that'll be kind of fun and interesting to see. And it's the first time you get to see Picard really having any romantic connection with anybody, which will be interesting. But and the episode name ended up being parodied in Lower Decks with "We'll always have Tom Paris."
Yeah, I do remember that episode too.
So I don't think it really will have any direct bearing between the two, but it'll be interesting for us coming up here.
Cool. I dig it. Well, that will be next week on the 25th.
Sure. Okay. Whatever.
Yes, 25th. We will see you guys next week at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard.
And 2 weeks from now.
Do what?
2 weeks from now, we will also have.
Well, yes, we're going to push that out at least a week because we want to finish first season.
Yes.
We weren't thinking about because we skipped last week to watch the state of the.
Sure. Okay.
But we're going to do next 2 weeks. The final 2 weeks was Conspiracy and whatever the last episode is called. And then
the last episode, I can tell you what the last episode is called. It's called The Neutral Zone.
The week after that, we are going to watch Wrath of Khan because I have not seen that. I saw it when I was really, really small. That doesn't really count though because it was 30 years ago. So we're going to watch Wrath of Khan. So be here for that.
And we have some ideas for that. We may try to do a first ever live. Well, not live. We're live now, but live in the same room, perhaps, if we can make it work out.
I just got a beding. Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, I just got a beding that something disconnected, so I'm a little concerned. Nothing is turned off. So
nothing seems to have turned off.
Yes, we're going to try to do that live. We're not really sure how, where, when, or what, but we'll figure it out. Also, this week on Thursday is the last session of our Civ 7 playthrough. It is time for war, so we're going to all try to nuke each other. And then Monday nights we're doing Valheim. This week was Turtle Time, so we went around and harvested a bunch of barnacles off the back of sea turtles, giant sea turtles. Next week we're going to go fight the goblin skeleton sorcerer of the plains called Yugla. Usually involves a lot of us getting rage killed, so it's always fun. And we're doing, me and Jim are doing Daredevil right now, so that's always fun too. Otherwise,
is that still going?
And do all the things.
Is the series still going well?
Well, we're only 3 episodes in. I like it, but I have a few reservations because this seems like it's going to be a slow burn. And they had originally plotted this to be a 16-episode, one and done out the door. And they split it into 2 9-episode seasons with the next one next year.
I was going to say, I thought I heard that there was going to be a second season now.
Yeah. So I'm a little concerned that we're going to get only half the story and have to wait a year, which, looking at you, Infinity War Endgame. But they did confirm that next year.
I hear that they're actually been. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
An hour-long special comes out around the time of season 2. That's a Punisher special, so we know we're getting that. So I'm excited about it. But yes,
I was going to say I've heard they've done some filming up in New York recently. Yeah. I keep seeing people posting like on Reddit from the streets of New York where there are big no parking signs because of something filming, and everybody says, well, it's in Hell's Kitchen, so there's only one thing that everybody knows is filming right now. So
agreed. All right, folks, like, subscribe to all the things, and we will see you all next week. Live long, stay nerdy, y'all.